This week on True Discussion, we're going to kick it right off with Chris telling us a personal story. Recently, Chris has found himself in a situation where he could have been all about justice, or he could have displayed grace. Now, you know what Two Stripe Douglas probably ended up doing, but you're going to want to check out that story. Next, the rest of the episode is very marriage heavy. We kick it off with a big question that I think a lot of people might disagree on. Brothers and sisters, we got to answer this. In a marriage, if a husband or wife dies, how long does the surviving partner have to wait till they can start dating again? Yikes, it's a big one. And I recently have changed my mind, so you're going to want to stick around for that answer. Last, we're going to look at a topic that I think it's easy for people to complain about. However, we don't look at the other shoe. So the topic is, women, in a marriage, are you letting yourself go? Do you stop being affectionate to your husband? Well, I think that's an easy one to complain about, but we need to look at the root of it. And so we're going to take it a step further in this week's discussion and ask the men. We're calling out the men, ladies. We're doing it for you. Men, are you letting yourself go? Are you not pursuing your bride anymore? Have you just become a grump who's not fun around to be around because you just come home, you're selfish, and you sit on the couch, and you don't show affection to your wife? Come on, fellas. That's not going to work. I'm going to get out of the way. You want to check out this discussion. Enjoy. Here we go. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to another episode of the True Discussion. Welcome back to the True Discussion podcast, you guys
and gals.
Oh, what a bumpy start, dude! My brain is fried. I don't even know if I can do the rest of the introduction. I've been working.
Do you want me? Tap me in, bro.
You got it.
Hands,
you got
slap
it.
hands.
Do the heavy lifting tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages.
Jeez.
Welcome to the one, the only, the international, the truest of true.
Yeah.
True Discussion podcast.
All right, man.
We are your hosts, the lovely, the dainty, the brain fried, the brown hat and green shirt, the muscular, Joseph Dobbs.
Oh, yeah,
and
man.
myself, Christopher Douglas.
This is the biggest intro we've ever had. And then you just sold yourself short, man. Don't ever do that again.
Oh.
Chris, I want to ask how your week is going. But should I ask how your week is going?
Oh, man. It's been tough. Okay. Actually, I feel like there's been some result. It's been good, but it's come with some challenges.
Yeah, vote show.
I had a rough go yesterday, but I feel like I realized some things, and on top of that, and more importantly, like I am so thankful to God. Like I love how God like intervenes in a way of I mean, he intervenes in things. You know what I'm saying? And I don't. There's no other way to describe it, and I feel like that's so vague. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yesterday I started getting some and I'm just gonna tell the story and.
Oh, you're full onzy?
Yeah, yes, and I'll get to why, because of some stuff that happened today, and then
I only ask because hey, brothers and sisters, buckle up because the man's about to lay something down. Here we go.
I don't know. Again, I'll be. I'll be somewhat vague. But, But so yesterday, I'm at work and I started getting some random text that were super weird, and I didn't understand what the heck was going on. It was from an Apple ID. So there was a name on it, and I recognized the name, but I was kind of like, man, this is really odd. And just weird stuff. You know what I mean? And so I did not respond because I was working, and also this is weird. And so then a little while later, I started getting text from a similar Apple ID address in a name that I again sort of recognized, and it was similar even messaging.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what in the world? And so I did shoot a little text back, kind of what in the world, And so at this point, I'm kind of I'm not even annoyed. Like what the world? This is weird.
Because I think most people have gotten that experience where they get a text from maybe it could be a wrong number.
Right.
It could be someone goofing. Yeah. I think we've all had that, like, yeah, that text is weird and not for me.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And one time, just to totally sidetrack here, I got a random text one time, and they were addressing someone by the first name. So I immediately knew it was not for me because that wasn't my name. But it was something about like school snacks. And I was like, I text back, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I think you got the wrong number. But if you're buying snacks,
where we land on them snacks, yo.
Yeah. And so, like, it was a fun interaction. Yeah. Anyways, so I text, like I said, like, what in the world, and that, and then things turned, right? Because then some boundaries were crossed, and some acknowledgments were made that whomever this is, whether they genuinely knew me or not, knew some stuff, whether they figured it out somehow online or whatever, I did not know. But there was some serious boundaries crossed, and so I took some action to sort of fix or remedy the situation. And so, long story short, there was some students that got my number and from the school, and they were messaging me, and so and obviously the material was offensive, to some degree, but one of the students clearly went far above and beyond in terms. And so again, I'm not trying to be vague, folks, but I'm just sort of trying to paint a picture.
Well, like, we would never in a million years use that language on here. That's why it's like.
Right. And
we're not going to read the text.
Too, like, I'm not trying to, like, the situation as far as the students, that has been dealt with, and so we're cool there. But at any rate, like, I found myself, and this is where I praise God for provision. I found myself, like, really, really upset. Like, I was mad because some of the stuff being said, like, if this happened, like, in a social setting, like, I might get in a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Like a grown man says this stuff to your face.
Right. And we're there's a high chance. I mean, you're definitely going to know that I'm not okay.
I'm on your side in saying that, because not that it is a, you said that, we're in a fight, but it is more of like okay, you said that, buddy, to my face. No more.
Right.
You're saying again?
Yes.
We have a problem.
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
That's where that would have led to.
Yeah. It's not. I would. Yeah. And thanks for the clarification. I wouldn't, like, immediately, like, throw hands, but I'm saying exactly that. Right. Exactly. Like, okay, no more.
Right.
Because I don't know if I've told this to you. I'm sure I've said this to you, and I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. So, at work, we try hard I try not to engage in some of the, just some of the conversation, the shop talk, tell me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm being honest.
How guys in the field talk.
Yeah. I don't always abstain as I should.
Sure.
I'll be honest. That being said, I have absolute boundaries. There are things I will not engage in.
Yeah.
And one time only, someone had made an off-colored comment about my bride, and I made it abundantly clear, that's not happening.
No good.
And the thing is that it wasn't like this personal thing, and I genuinely believed, like, it was lighthearted, but it was like,
But a boundary was crossed,
right,
so it's
right, absolutely, and it's never happened since, and we're totally fine, no conflict, no nothing,
right?
But I drew that line, and I feel like that was okay, and the line was respected. But I think as a man, that's my responsibility, right? Like,
that's your bride,
absolutely, absolutely. And again, like I said, it wasn't like the worst thing that I've ever heard or anything like that, but it was a, like, that is off limits,
right?
And I'm making that abundantly clear to you.
And so for you, to this grown man, to make that boundary, it is now either respected,
right,
and I won't cross it again, or it's I'm going to cross it again. Okay, now we have a problem.
Oh, absolutely.
I just told you not to do this.
Right, and so yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, back to this situation. Okay, so some lines were crossed, and dude, I was really ticked off because I felt, one, disrespected. The line was crossed. You're doing this behind a screen, being sort of like a keyboard warrior situation. You would never, ever say this to someone's face, certainly not mine.
No.
You know what I mean? So all of these things kind of just led to this. And then, it kind of shifted a little bit. And then it's like, okay, this is the second time in 6 weeks or so that I've had an issue with the school technology, right? And we kind of talked about the one time already, so I'm not going to rehash that. But now this is another situation, because it's like some of the stuff that was sent to me is stuff that how were you looking this up on your school issued iPad?
Right.
And then you're sending this stuff. So did they not monitor any of the messaging stuff? And I don't know if they do or don't. I am assuming that they do not. But so that is where I'm headed next, dude. Is I'm taking that up the chain, because
absolutely,
I'm not okay with that. And if you're not going to protect, obviously I love my kid, but these students deserve better than that. Because if you want to draw this line in the sand of like, oh, no bullying, and we're going to do all this stuff about it, but you're not going to moderate what they can say, you know what I'm saying? And I understand freedom of speech and all this and that. The problem is that if I emailed some of this stuff, or if you emailed some of this stuff that I was sent from your work email, like to
any other person I work with,
right,
I'd be done.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's my issue. So so anyway, I talked to the principal. Like I said, all this stuff is kind of worked out. He called me at the end of my day, or my work day yesterday, and he said he kind of informed me of kind of what had transpired, and then also asked if he could give my phone number out to parents. And I said, that's totally fine. So fast forward, I get a message from a mom this morning, and, just very apologetic and like, we're so sorry. He's a good kid, all this stuff. And, and I know him. I affirm that. Yeah. Like, he is a good kid. I've never had a bad interaction with him. Isaiah has like had sleepovers at his house. Like, I confirm that. Lapse in judgment. And so I messaged her back and I said, I guess maybe let me back up. She was very apologetic, but also very much like, we want him to come over and apologize tonight. Let me know when works best. Okay. And so I messaged her back and just sort of affirmed, like, look, I have kids. They make poor decisions too. Right. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about, a recent one that we've had, and it's like I just affirmed to her, like, I know what that's like, and I was a teenager once too. I think you're doing a good job, but I did say, like, look, I would love to, or I don't know what I said, love, but I said I would like to sit down with him to talk to him. I said I want to extend forgiveness to him, and I also want to call him up to manhood, right? Like, yeah. And so,
dude, absolutely.
And I think I maybe worded that different, because I was kind of like, okay, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to, 1 Corinthians 16, 13 and 14, like that came into my mind. And I was like, I said that I want to extend forgiveness, but I would like to go over this verse with him too, if that would be permissible, because I'm also understanding of like, where they stand. Like, I want to respect them in that regard too. If all they wanted was this young man to come and apologize, hey, I'm okay with that. I want him to know that we're good. I want to look him in the eye. I want to shake his hand, and like, you're not defined by this. This isn't who you are. And so she messaged me back. I'd love that. So before you came over, because you came over for dinner tonight before we're recording, and like, he had stopped by. Him and his dad.
Oh, for real?
Yep. We sit down at the kitchen table and had a conversation. A young man like poured it out, man. He was like, I'm really sorry. You know, and I appreciate that. I feel like I was able to go through that verse, which I think. So for those two verses, which you guys are all going to be familiar with this, but 1 Corinthians 16, 13 and 14, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong, let all that you do be done in love. Okay. So I feel like I was able to affirm this young man and really his dad, and just to point him to like, look, man, stand firm in the faith. You have an example. Your dad's sitting here, you know, helping you to do the right thing. You know what that looks like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like your dad is being that example. So I was able to affirm both of them like, hey, look, Dad, you're doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no need to hang your head and you know, be ashamed in a sense of like, oh gosh, this is a poor life choice. You know, none of that. And I don't think he was doing that. I'm just simply saying that there's no need for that. Okay. You're doing the next right thing by showing him like, look, dude, this is what's expected. You messed up. You're going to own it. And that is cool, man. And I affirmed to him like, look, man, the world is going to tell you these things. And there's going to be people that are going to lead you astray. But you've got to stand firm.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to act like a man. And that's where I affirmed his dad is like, look, you know what it looks like. He's sitting right here. And so even though you're not a man, you're in this process. So anyway, I guess I don't need to rehash the whole conversation, but it was good, man. And I praise God for the opportunity.
Man, right? That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's good stuff, man. Because I did talk to you yesterday. I ate over your house last night as well. And I was in the same boat with you of like, I'm mad. I don't like this. And I'm very reactive. Like if you offend me, you got a fist coming. Like I'm responsive. I'm too quick and I need to walk away and think. And so I'm in the mindset of like, man, this kid needs to be done. Like kick him out of high school. Like he's done. But it's like, what does that do? Mm-hmm. And I like you said it at supper. You're like, but how do we address the heart? Because that is the issue.
Oh, absolutely.
The heart.
Yeah.
You kick a kid out and it's like, you didn't address it. And also you just kicked him in the heart. Like,
right.
And here's the thing. I do get life consequences. Mm-hmm. I get that. I spilled like my guts to you guys last night. I had a story when I was in junior high, like absolute grace was demonstrated. And thank God for that. What's cool is I'm agreeing with you, Chris, is like you got the opportunity to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. To be like, you know what? I like how you said, I'm going to call you to manhood, man.
Yeah.
Here is a opportunity.
Yeah.
Because this, I know it might seem small on the scale of things, but like this can change a course.
Sure.
This simple act of you as a man owning up, apologizing, looking me in the eyes and going, I know what I did was wrong. I should not have done that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally think that and my hope obviously is that he learns from it, and I think he will, you know, and that's fantastic, dude. And I guess I feel resolved in that. You know, now I would contrast it, and again, it's only been a day, but like I got a message from one of the parents this morning. I haven't heard anything from the other parent.
From the other set.
Yeah. And to be quite honest, like the other kid said he's the one that, because there were similar parts of the message, you know, or similar parts in their messages, but the kid I have not heard from, nor his parents, was way worse.
Oh, his was the worst stuff.
Yes, his was the worst
I got
stuff.
you.
The kid I talked to tonight was not
the first messages.
Right. Yeah.
I got you.
So, and again, they were both wrong, and I'm not necessarily. But one was clearly like shock value, and just.
And I sort of do stand by what I mean. There is consequences, even, and I think that's part of being a man too, or really just an adult in general. Is owning up to what you did was wrong. Right? Apologizing to the person, saying, I recognize wrong. That doesn't all of a sudden cancel out consequences. Yeah. So I don't know what the school's going to do if they do lose their iPad, or if there's, I don't know.
Sure.
But I guess a part of life is still learning, like, I did mean what I said. I apologize and I recognize it's wrong. But I still have to take my licks. Like, if there's a consequence, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I was able, and I spoke some of that too, man. Like, as far as him, we're good, and I was able to just affirm that.
And that's
to him.
Good. Yes.
Like I said, good. You're welcome here. Like, we're good, and I shook his hand, and
dude, that's a heart he needs to see.
Right? Well, I hope so, man.
Yeah.
I hope that, and that has been my prayer today. Is like I really do want to bring glory to God.
Yeah.
And so to use this opportunity for that very thing. We had talked some time ago, and I get so another part of the week. So earlier in the week, before all this happened, my oldest boy, he thought being a midnight walker was a good idea. So him and a friend had a sleepover at the house, and he thought, hey, this is a good idea. I'm gonna go for a walk at 1:00 in the morning.
Oh man, I used to do that.
Yeah. So 1:30, I get a knock on the door, and Megan, and I kind of like wake up, and Megan's like, is there someone's knocking on the door? And so she hops up, she looks out the window, she's like, oh my gosh, it's the police. And at this point,
oh, is that right?
Yeah, dude. At this point, I'm like, oh no. Like I'm being, because Ariana has moved out. She's living on her own. That was my immediate thought, dude.
Oh, you just don't know in this moment.
I have no idea what's going on, dude. I am like, oh gosh, dang. Like, please do not let this be, the Ariana's gotten an accident or some of my family, a family member or something like that. Like that was my immediate. And then he's like, and I'm half awake. I open the door, but I want to step out because I got kids.
Wait. So you wake up, you see the cops. So you immediately, you have to get to the door fast.
Yeah.
Are you in your underwear?
I put my pajamas on.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So I went to the door and I'm trying to step out, and he says to me, he's like, your little one's out running around. And I was immediately like, oh my gosh, Emery went outside. Like at this point, dude, I am done. Like I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I'm starting to now I'm not panicking by any means, but like I'm starting to like that hits hard, and I'm looking around like, where is she? Like, you saw her running around and you didn't grab her? Like, what are you doing? And then he said, your little one's running around. He's out running around with so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not my little one, but hey, man,
he's okay.
Yeah. And so, and I feel like he was a cool officer, man. Yeah. He was like, yeah, I saw him over here, and I talked to him and that, and I told him to walk home. He's like, he like literally like did not give him a ride.
Oh, good.
He's like, yeah, I made him walk home.
Yeah, you
and so, go. I felt like in that, like, he was cool, but also that affirmed, like, these guys they're not doing anything stupid.
Yeah. He saw them.
Right. He saw them. He engaged them. He was confident that they're not out causing trouble.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not minimizing that because that's
you started at 100. We're like 10 now. It's like, oh, that's okay.
And so, but okay. So with that being said, though, it's like, so we had a very short, by the time they got home, a very short conversation.
Yeah.
And I addressed his friend as well, right? Like, you're in my care, dude.
Yeah,
this isn't okay. Yeah. And that was it, man.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time getting to sleep. But I feel like my normal inclination is to like,
yeah.
But like,
yeah, I'm with you.
In some of these big situations, I feel like there has been this restraint a little bit, in a sense of like, I'm gonna sleep on this, because this is best. And so the next day, he's got a list of chores because, man, you messed up, and he didn't balk at any of them. He didn't, he's apologetic. He owned it, man. Like, he took it on the chin, and I could not be more pleased. And I'm not saying the thing is that I recognize that my kid is not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think being able to recognize those things, and then in the, the next situation, the previous situation, like, I can extend grace in that, right?
Right.
But I think a part of that grace, and maybe I'm wrong in this, and I guess maybe I'll get your opinion, but is a part of that grace, the response.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. You beat me to it. James 1:19 is very clear on this. Let every person be quick to what?
Listen.
Right?
Yeah.
That should be our go. what happened? Right? That's what tell me what happened. Like, but instead, right, it's quick to hear, slow to speak. Because you can say, I'll raise my hand, I can say some dumb stuff if my first reaction is to speak out of anger. Slow to anger. Why? I love this. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Right. It does not.
Right.
Not sometimes, not halfway. Never. It does not. Your anger is not righteous.
Yeah.
There is a righteous anger, but how do we get there? Dude, you got to listen first. We got to get it. We got to get everything figured out.
Golly, yeah.
So, dude, sleep on it. Mm-hmm. Sleep on it. Like, there's not... Okay, if the story ends up being true and a consequence is coming, that's fine. But at least I slept on it, and now I can administer that a day later.
Right.
You don't have to be quick to do that. The consequence will be there.
Yeah, because I mean, even with like the text messaging thing, it's like, to be honest, I think a part of the illusion that I had was like, I thought it was fake. I didn't think it was real. I thought these accounts got hijacked. But at the same time, like to your point, there's no need to like respond. Now, under the surface, dude, I was fired up.
Oh, that flesh gets hot. Yeah,
right,
for sure.
But in terms of action or any of that, like or an overreaction, like I praise God, that there was like minimal in that regard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I didn't fire back messages of what I thought or how I was feeling.
This could have got nasty fast.
Right.
Really
and
bad.
again, praise be to God. I don't know that would go that way every single time, but this time it did. So praise God.
Man, that's a good one.
So yeah, dude, like I wanted to share that because I feel like the resolve in that, and even with Isaiah and him being silly, it's like,
dude, small town. We used to sneak out of our house all the time in the middle of the night, and literally all we did was walk around. We weren't thugs going and doing stuff.
Sure.
Like, I'm sure some people did that, but yeah, we just walked around. Okay. Well, I do like that you had to sit down with this young man because, like, he needs to see that, right? Consequences are there, bud. Like, what you did was wrong.
Sure.
But with me, there's something bigger I want you to know. Like, let's get to that heart.
Well, I feel like that's my heart too. Is like I think that. Yeah, I agree. And I would even go a step further and say sometimes I feel like there's a lack of consequence in life. But I also would say like the expression of grace and the act of forgiveness is lacking too, right? Like I want to display to this young man that I desire to be a good man. I do. And I fail. But that's my desire, dude. I want to be a good man. I want to be a man worth following. And so how do I do that? But to display, look, this is what it looks like, man.
Right.
We all mess up.
I mean, I want to say, if anything, at the very least, a seed was planted in this young man. Because if I was him, if I was in his boots, I'd be shaking because I'm like, I have to go sit down with this guy. He's going to like yell at me and like really call me out. But instead to be like,
now he's probably like, Dad, go in with me, protect me. Yeah.
So he took note of that, man. That's faux show.
I hope so.
Okay. I had a question I thought of. I've been wanting to ask you this for a couple weeks. And I know, and I just remembered it before we pressed record. So I wrote it down. I didn't want to forget it. I'm going to add, it is loaded in the sense I have a new answer.
Oh.
And so I want to know what you think of this. A married couple. Okay, one of the partners dies.
Okay,
that happens. That is tragic.
Yeah.
How long does the person have to wait before they can begin dating, remarry? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't think there is a minimum. I wouldn't say.
Okay,
I guess
there's not a minimum. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like every person is going to be different. And so I would be hesitant. Now, I would say, but my answer would be definitely different in the result of a divorce, though.
Oh, but yeah, so would I. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So, no, I don't know. Because I think that there are people that you would say, oh, my gosh, you seem like you moved on real fast. But I don't. Why?
That is actually, the answer is actually, it's a step. I actually want to get to that.
What?
That people go, really seem like they move too fast. And sometimes it's a year later. Like, that's not fast.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I see how it can seem that way.
Sure. Yeah,
wow, they were married for like 40 years. She dies and he remarries within a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you just say it like that, it's like, well, yeah, big life events, it all happened within a year. I suppose that seems fast. I see what you're saying. But is it too fast? Like, shame on them, they should wait. I thought about that over the weekend, and I don't know why. That's not a question that is relating to me right now. Because I really started to poke at that of like, man, if someone waits 2 years, all right, what 1 year? What about 6 months? What if someone dies and a month later they start dating? That does seem fast. Like, saying it out loud, that seems fast. But my problem is when people see that and they go, well, they move too, like, objectively, they move too fast. Well, I want to press against that because nowhere in the Bible does it say I have to remain alone. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
That's tragic.
Right.
But you're saying, you're saying I have to go through that alone? I have to?
Well, not only that, but you're also, where does the Bible say, oh, you need to be court for so long or any of that?
No, I'm not saying they start dating tomorrow.
Sure.
I'm just saying this whole, like, you have to wait a set period. Yeah. I think I've changed my mind to, like, yeah, for sure. If you, dude, you've been married 40 years and you're in your 70s now and your wife dies and you know a gal at church and you start dating a month later, I got to be honest, that doesn't bother me one bit. If they know the boat that you're in and they want to go through it with you, that doesn't bother me one bit. Dude, good for both of them.
Yeah. I would, and so I would even, I would even go so far, because I really like your analogy, or your, I guess it's not is that an analogy? It's not really an analogy, but your example, rather, sorry. I like your example. And I would say that if someone has been married for 20, 30, 40 years, and I would almost say, not the quicker the better, but I would have less issue. Because of the thing, if you've been married that long, you understand what is required of marriage.
Right.
You understand how the dynamics and all this and that. And so, and you probably understand, like, if you've met someone that you're like, I'm really compatible with you.
Right.
Like, and I would assume they're a similar age or something along those lines. I don't. Why do you need to wait?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Is like when you're 18 years old and you're getting married, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just simply saying, like, this is my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion, folks. If you're 18 years old and you're getting married, you're an idiot in the sense that you know very
nothing.
little about
You're not
life.
ready for it yet.
Right. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get married at 18, and I'm not saying you shouldn't.
I know high school sweethearts that got married right away and they're still together.
Exactly. Awesome. So I'm not saying don't, and I'm not saying, like, oh, that's an awful thing. I'm just simply saying,
but I wouldn't advise you to do it.
Right. I'm just saying, in general, I don't think an 18, 19, 20-year-old has enough experience. And again, I'm not. Maybe I need to not go down this trail, dude, because I feel like I'm just
people are
digging
like,
a hole.
Keyboard warriors, you better watch what you say.
I'm just saying
there's a difference.
There's a difference.
And I saw someone's gonna hear it and be like, well, what is the difference? Well, the difference entirely is the loss of a spouse. That's what I am talking about.
So if a mid-20-year-old lost a spouse,
my advice still stands. Like, dude, no one says you have to go. What? Because here's the thing. Well, you need to deal with stuff before you move on. Dude, my wife died. You think I'm just gonna deal with that? I'll probably never, like, fully deal with that for the rest of my life. That's awful.
Right.
So why do you say I have to go through this alone? Dude, if you meet and here's the thing. I thought this goes without saying, but I'll say it. When I say I think I'm okay with someone remarrying, like, right away, if good Christian marriage, they find a good God-fearing person. It's not this lustful, like, move on.
Right.
I wouldn't advise that to anyone getting married that way.
Absolutely.
It should go without saying that this is a well thought out, very compatible marriage.
Right.
Then go for it. I don't know why we say you have to wait 2 years or a year, but you need to deal with it before you move on.
Sure.
No, if you can find someone and they know, like I said, exactly where you're at in your heart, and they're like, you know what, I'm okay with that. I'll go through this with you.
So then why would you make a distinction in the situation of a divorce?
You said it, not me.
Oh, I thought you said you agree.
I do agree.
Okay, why?
Because a divorce, oh gosh, it's tough. So when I want to say in a divorce, both hearts. Now I got to speak careful because I picture both hearts being guilty or damaged. Is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. And that you could take into your for instance, if I'm cheating on my wife,
right,
and she leaves me, mm-hmm. I really need to get a hold on that before I start even talking to another gal. But it
sounds like you were already talking to a gal.
Oh yeah,
in that situation.
I suck in this scenario, by the way. Good grief.
No, but I get your point because you're right in the heart condition.
Right, because
you made a covenant commitment.
My advice still stands for marriage ultimately. Like this should be a thought out marriage, a God-fearing couple. We should have our heart in check. Mm-hmm. Like if you're 50 years old and you're running around with women and you're like, I'm going to get married. I'd be like, no, dude, you're not ready for marriage.
Right.
I don't care what age you are. Mm-hmm. You're not showing that you're ready for this.
Yeah.
That's what I lean on divorce. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure someone out there is thinking of a divorce where it is one-sided and the other person's a victim.
I'm sorry.
Can that person move on?
I have a hard time seeing any divorce as completely one-sided.
Yeah.
Okay. First.
Well, I wanted to say that, but
I'm not saying like maybe someone did step out in the marriage.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. But that didn't happen overnight.
Right.
Or maybe it did happen, one night. But I you know what I'm saying? Like that there is a slow fade there that happens.
Right.
But I would say that the anguish of that individual's heart that was wronged in that way, where now we've divorced, so now I've added trauma on top of trauma, in an emotional sense.
Right.
So I do think that you absolutely need to deal with that. Right, because there are some things, because all of the things that you go through as an individual when someone steps out on you in that regard is like, what did I do wrong? Yeah. Like what's wrong with me? Why am I not worth honoring? What, am I not attractive? All those things. And I think that you need to be able to be whole before you get into another relationship. I 100% believe that to be true. And in terms of time, obviously it is going to be different for everyone, but man, I would say a minimum of 2 years. And again, that's
just an arbitrary.
No, I think that if you're doing the work, maybe,
Sure.
maybe, but a matter of months, no, I don't think so. But again, everybody's different, so I'm not saying, I can't say that this is an absolute. This is my opinion. These are my opinions.
Right. Well, and here's the thing too, man. Is like I want the people to realize too. I am not advising as soon as your spouse dies, the best thing to do is to get married right away. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you lose a spouse, and if in a month, 2 months, 6 months, you have a man. There's a gal at church. Like we've friends, and well, now we're both single, and like I don't have a dude. Especially if you got kids at home, find them a God-fearing mother. What's wrong with that? That's a good thing.
Well, I think there's so my boys, their grandparents or the biological grandma, I guess is how you might say. So she's married to a wonderful man, and her name is Jan and Denny, and wonderful, absolutely wonderful people. Now he was married for a very long time, and his wife passed away, and I think they had. Jan and Denny had known each other because I think they taught together or something. They worked at a school together at some point years ago. Anyway, after his wife passed, they reconnected and ultimately have been married. And like, dude, awesome people.
Yeah.
Awesome people. And a great couple. And I feel like I'm so happy for Jan, because I've known her for years. Wonderful, wonderful woman. But never had or at least in the time that I have known her, never had a man like this.
Yeah.
And so what an absolute blessing for her, but for her family. And you know, Denny's been a blessing to us too. Like I enjoy hanging out with the guy, man. And it's cool.
Yeah.
So that's to your scenario. I don't know that I'm not sure how long his wife had been, she had passed away. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it was within a year, but
see, and that doesn't.
Yeah, and
I'm so used to hearing people say, like, well, I think they moved on kind of fast. I'm going to take a verse out of context, so please forgive me. But
why?
I do. Well, hold on.
Wait,
I do
why?
think.
No, hold on. We're about your discussion, bro.
No, I know.
Why are you doing this?
I'm not going to misuse it out of context. I think it.
All right.
It stands. It's just that this verse, there is context to it.
Okay.
But it's given because of its usage. So hopefully I'm not butchering it. But shut up. Let's see.
All right.
I'm not making a stretch here, okay? If a married woman is bound to her husband as long as he is alive, but if her husband dies, she is released from the law that binds her to him. So it's an argument about being bound to the law. The law's dead, right? So we're free from it. So that's why I'm saying I'm taking it out of context. I'm ignoring that part and just saying, look, the example they use is if the husband's alive, the woman is bound to him. Mm-hmm. But then it goes on to say, so if she has sexual relationships with another man while the husband's alive, she's called an adulteress. But if the husband dies, she is released from that law and is not an adulteress if she marries another man. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that to say, like, for you people that are judging, like, man, they moved on too fast. Dude, spouse is dead. They are free. They're not bound to them anymore.
Right.
If they marry someone within a couple months, good for them. Like, again, it goes without saying, if it's a good, well thought out biblical marriage and it's going to work and it's compatible. Mm-hmm. I lost my thought. I know what I was going to say. So for those people out there that are going to do the whispering and say, well, they got together real fast. They probably were getting together before she even died. You need to check yourself.
Sure. Because
shame on you to just assume the worst.
Right.
You do not know. So that's the kind of stuff I'm like, dude, knock it off.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm saying I'm okay now. I get it. Dude, if your spouse dies and you remarry, man, best luck. I hope you find a good marriage. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to just sit there, be alone in your misery.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, I was actually thinking about this not too long ago.
Bet you were.
No, it was a couple days ago, and I was like, man, I really want to ask you this question. And as we're on the subject of marriage, so I feel like it works.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it, dude. I'm gonna knock it out of the park. You know it.
You know that I have like been very complimentary of your situation. Like honest to goodness, I do not know how you go a month without your wife and daughter. I have no earthly idea, bro.
I feel like I told this to either you and Megan or my students, and I don't remember who I told to, and they laughed.
Oh, okay.
Because it was either you and Megan that asked this, or my students was like, "Hey man, how do you do it? Your wife is gone."
I don't think I laughed though, did I?
Well, there's something I said, and the reaction was a laugh. So yeah, for the listeners who don't know, my wife, she's from Georgia. And so when she goes back home to visit her family, my mentality is like, that's a 19+ hour drive. You might as well just stay for a long time and enjoy the vacation.
Right.
I'm the one that works. I'll work. Mm-hmm. There's no hurry for you to get back. Enjoy it.
Sure.
And she'll still stay for 3 to 4 weeks. And the question comes up from like you, Chris and Megan, and my students. It's like, man, how do you do that? Like your wife being gone. And I think actually, what's funny is I do get the flip side from some other people around town. I've ran into people like at Walmart and stuff. They're like, hey, wife's still gone? Yeah. Man, nice. I'm like, no, I don't like it. It's not fun. I miss her. I miss her and Ada bad.
Right, yeah.
Anyhow, so it came up and I said, yeah, it's not fun. I do miss him, but I do notice like my eating and sleeping like goes out the window. Like I don't have much of an appetite.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I can eat. And like, how many tacos did I eat last night? Just 2. Tonight, I didn't even eat at all. Like, I was just thirsty. Like, my appetite, it truly does. Like, it goes away.
Yeah.
And sleeping goes out the window.
That stinks.
What was the question?
It was more of a compliment because I'm leading into my question. But
I took that down a dark rabbit hole.
No, that's okay, dude. Because I feel like
I do miss my
because I think
vanilla Godzilla.
Actually, I feel like this helps in a sense of my question.
Okay, here we go.
Because
you really should have told me to just shut
up,
dude.
No, it's totally fine.
Okay.
So when because every once in a while I go on like these work trips, and it's never for that long, it's a few days or whatever. Or Megan, she'll go spend time with her family in Texas, and again, it's 4-hour drive, so
yeah,
that's not she can go for a few days. No big deal. But I miss her so much. And I guess I'm curious, one, if you are like me. I get very introspective, right? Like in her absence, in that, like, I realize, not that I forget on a daily basis, you know what I'm saying? But it is different but I realize like how much I love her and I miss her and I enjoy her company and enjoy the conversation. And, we talk on the phone and that kind of stuff, but it's different. You know what I mean? I just miss her in that regard. And then I reflect on the fact that, I adore her and how am I adoring her? How am I showing her that on a regular basis? And so I'm very introspective in that. And I understand too and recognize like maybe where I'm failing in acknowledging how much I appreciate her and love her and those things. So I guess I'm curious, one, are you the same way? And then the follow-up would be, what are those things? If you are introspective and you are recognizing those things, what are they? So
I am the same way. What's funny is Shay and I have not actually had this talk, and I kind of want to, when she gets back, just to be like, hey, do you notice it too? And she has to, but so as much as I don't enjoy them being gone, because I miss them tremendously. My house is so quiet without it's depressing. I truly, my appetite is gone. And it was, so one of the things I want to ask her, like, hey, one of the things I like, and I hope she notices it about it, is for some reason that break, like our flame is not put out in our marriage by no means, but when this separation, that fire like gets turned up a lot,
right?
And it's sort of like a refreshing, like, man, like when we get back, there's just a
right.
Ooh, I got a little snap back in our marriage, and I love it. So that is a good thing. Okay, so to your question, yeah, man, like I think sitting in my like semi-depression while they're gone, it makes me think a lot of like, not to like be morbid, but it's like, what if I don't see them again? Car crash. I mean, just something like, what if, man, does my little lamb, does she know I love her and care for her? Does Shay know I love her? And I get that thought, and it's like, dude, I love them so much. But then when I think about it, like, I just don't tell them enough. And then it turns into like hate. I'm like, why don't you tell them enough? Why don't you?
Sure.
It's the simplest thing. Just say it. Just text it. Say it. Just say it. They already know you, but just say it.
Sure.
It feels like $1 million when you hear a genuine, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, I know I'm busy, but like I'm going to stop and tell you, like, dude, I love you. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right. Yeah.
And so I probably tell her I love her like 100 times more per day when she's gone. Cause it's like, if the worst happened, if I die while I'm
here,
there should be no question. Man, did he love me? He freaking loved me.
Right. Yeah.
I want that. The other thing is I think about like, man, what am I, what do I take for granted?
Sure.
When she's here.
Right. Yeah.
Because now she's gone, I miss her. And it's like, I need to be, again, it's the like, I'm grateful and I'm thankful for what you do as my bride and as a mother to little Ada Grace. But do I tell her that enough? No. Just say it. Just say these things. So those are the things I wrestle with of like, it's my communication. Like, it's easy to get in your routine, man. Work, supper, sleep.
Right.
Somewhere in between some conversations. And it's like, I didn't tell her I love her 5 times today. Why not? Well, she knows I love. So say it.
Right. Sure.
Say it. Like you want her. You want your bride to like give you a big kiss when you walk through the door.
Sure.
Tell her you love her.
Right. Yeah.
And so those are the things I wrestle with. Like, what am I not doing enough? And I just, at the end of the day, I hope my bride knows. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a fun month.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's awesome. And too, I guess I can appreciate the perspective of, that flame, you know what I mean? And it makes sense, right? The absence, what is it saying? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
Or something along those. And I think that's true. And like I said, I don't know how you do it for a month, because I'm saying, like, I go a few days, bro, and I'm like, man, I miss my bride so much.
Yeah.
And it's in a sense the same effect. But I just can't imagine. Like, that's like turned up even more. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I don't want to try that. So
sure. Yeah. And I gotta be honest. One of the things I do enjoy is like our even like, dude, we're adults. We can talk adult talk. Like our flirting, it's just through the roof, and it's like I cannot wait till you're home again. Mm-hmm. Not for like the lustful stuff. Like that's the obvious stuff. But it's like I can't wait till you're just in my arms. Like I want to just nap with you. Sure. I want to smell you again. Like I just can't wait till you're here again.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you so much.
That's awesome, man.
And I want you to know that. And
I feel like that's the golden stuff, man. Like, honestly, like in a relationship, or in that marital relationship.
Right.
Because the truth is, and we've talked about it on the podcast, that like there's been hard times. There's times where marriage is challenging.
Right.
Right. And we've talked about, is it easy or not, and that, but the perspective of just that absolute adoration.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And praise be to God that, like, that's not where we're at with him, right?
Oh,
you know what
my
I'm saying?
God.
Like, there is this longing to be with him, but it's like, dude, I can always praise God.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, man. Amen. What a good little application there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Actually, I think that segues perfectly. I wanted to bring something up about, man, like, just how awesome he is. And I'm just going to read it. No setup. Okay. Psalm 8, 3, starting at 3. I don't know how much I'll read. Dude, I love this. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them.
Yeah.
Dude, like,
yeah.
I'm with you, brother. Like, to just, like, I like how you said it, like, I'm not even close. I'm not even close to being done. Like, just,
yeah.
Thanks, God.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Absolutely.
You have these awesome works and wonders that are made from you set in place. Those things will never sin against our Father. Mm-hmm. And they're amazing things. It's for me, it's cool that he can hang out with those perfect works. Like, they're never going to sin against him. He can hang out with them for eternity, and he's not lacking anything. And yet, who am I that he would want to come down and have a relationship and be mindful of me? Dude, because I suck. Most days. Probably every day, if I'm being honest. But what is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. I guess only the elect he cares for, but King David was a little wrong there.
Had a slider in there.
I had to throw it in there. But still, right? Like, no. Dude, mankind, he is mindful of them.
No,
I'm sorry, Calvinist, but
golly. Praise God.
Right? Like, he could be with his works forever. Instead, he's like, yeah, I guess I'll check on mankind. How are you turds doing? And by the way, the psalmist, that's the word he's using there for mankind. The word there really describes, like, us as a whole, that just how fallen and broken and weak we are. And he's saying, like, why are you mindful of us? We're so fallen, like, broken. How could you be mindful of us when you're up there hanging with the very thing I'm looking at in pure awe?
Right. Yeah. You created all this with your breath. Like, what?
And yet you're like, no, I care about you guys instead.
Yeah. I care about this seemingly insignificant situation. Like, good grief,
man. Anyhow. Yeah.
Cool. No, so I feel like this, is that, did you have other stuff or?
If it comes up, that's fine.
Okay, because I wanted to kind of jump back to marriage a little bit. Okay, well, actually, I feel like I want to dive pretty deep in sort of in an area, but
let's do it.
But I feel like I guess what I want the listener to do is I want you to sort of recall as we get into this Joseph's perspective of his bride and how like that the missing her and all of those things. Just I want to smell her, I want to hold her, I want to just be in her presence. All those things, that level of adoration, and is genuine. And I feel like that's not an overnight thing. Like that doesn't just happen, right?
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is you guys have been married for some years now, and so it's not fresh and new. The news worn off, so that's awesome. Okay, so I was listening to this podcast, and they were talking about marriage, and I think they were talking about it from like this pastoral perspective, and just like people are kind of taken aback when these men step out on their marriage and this and that, and they were not justifying this by any means.
Sure,
but one of the comments made by I believe as a host, he said, I totally understand. He said, but I feel like we overlook the fact that like these men are not, they get married and they start, their wives, they have kids and this and that. And he talked about it from this perspective in a sense of like, these wives let themselves go and they just stop trying, that kind of thing. And then of course the man isn't, sexually fulfilled and things of that nature. And then they step out and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. But so, and they did clarify that they're not advocating, they're not justifying, they're not saying this is okay. They're just simply stating or making the point that in marriage, you can't just stop trying. Like you can't just stop taking care of yourself. And I feel like in a sense, I kind of wanted to get your take on that because I feel like I kind of could understand where they were going with that. Mm-hmm. Right. And I guess maybe what are your thoughts?
So I agree with that. But if I could just flesh something out, right? So I agree with the statement of like, hey, if we're going to be looking at marriage, and which we should, right? Just because we're Christian and we're married doesn't mean as soon as we get married, rings on the finger, it's like, yeah, I'm good. I can stop trying.
Right.
For my wife.
Right.
She can stop trying for me now. Mm-hmm. We're committed.
Right.
We ain't going anywhere. No, that's not how that works.
Right.
And so this whole like, as the podcast says, hey, wives, please stop letting yourself go, and then being surprised when your husband runs around, and like stop trying. So I agree with it. I just want to lean to a little bit in saying like, it is okay if we age and we get the dad bods, like that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Now we are taking care of ourselves, right? We're I'm not turning into an alcoholic. I'm not becoming a lazy dad that just sits and drinks on, right? That to me is letting yourself go.
Right. Sure.
Do I have to be able to run 20 miles a day? No, I'm not a young man anymore. I don't have to prove anything.
Right. Yeah.
But we're not letting ourselves go just completely.
Right. Yeah.
So that I would agree with. Outside of that, you have to be okay. Like, dads, I'm sorry, your body's gonna change. Moms, you're gonna change, and that's fine, dude. I love my wife even. Like I look, real talk. I talk to my brothers about this all the time. Like, dude, I find my wife like way more beautiful and hot today than like when I met her.
Right.
And we look nothing like we find pictures of like me and her when we were just 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like I was a little bit more cut, had some more muscle mass, and she's like, "Man, where'd that go?" I'm like, "I don't know." But
right.
Like that's fine. So that we're okay with that. All right. Now the issue at hand. I agree with it. Like I like ladies, like we can't if we just cut that off. And I'm specifically going to talk about sex. I don't know if that's like where we wanted to go.
No, I think that is an aspect for sure. Because I would say, and I would agree with, and maybe I want to echo this. I find my wife. I mean, she's just gorgeous, man. And the thing about it is it's I know her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know her.
Yes.
And so it's not like, I feel like this notion of, like this beach body nonsense is not, I feel like
that's not what I fell for.
No, man. Like I feel like that is so, one, it's certainly fleshly. No, and what I'm not saying is like, you shouldn't take care of yourself. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I am saying is that my wife's beauty is not at all solely wrapped up in the physical. Now I am physically attracted to my bride. Okay.
That's icing on the cake.
I'm saying, right. But I'm saying like the way that I hold her in my eyes and in my heart is I guess I don't know if I'm articulating well. I'm just simply saying she is beautiful to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so this situation where someone might just about the physical, I disagree with that. And for the ladies, I want you to be confident in this, okay? That if your husband married you and I'm sure he was attracted to you, that is a secondary issue in terms of the connection of the heart, right? If you are emotionally connected in that regard and physically intimate, I struggle to see how I don't know. I don't want to go too far, but
no,
anyway.
get it. I think you're on some, man. Spit it out.
Well, I feel like this attractiveness. I feel like the problem is that I think women may think that it's nonsense that they feel unattractive and therefore I can't find my bride attractive because she doesn't see herself in this light. But what she doesn't understand is that in my eyes, that beauty is not solely the physical.
Right.
That is a piece of it.
Right.
But I would say it's not even the majority. I would say that in confidence that physical, because of how I know her. And I'm not saying like I overlooked it. That's not what I'm saying. Like the total pack, like she is.
No, I'm with you.
A gem. There is none other, man.
Yeah. I think I don't know when, somewhere we learned that men are pleased visually.
Sure,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
and so somehow that's like, well, that's the standard then of how a man loves you. No, it's categorical error. Like that's not even the same. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you, Chris. Like physical aside, and see, I think people hear that and go, "Oh, so you're not attracted?" No, I am. I can't. If I could try to keep it clean, you have no idea how attracted I am to my wife.
Yes,
and that's what our brides need to know. That.
But that's the love. That's the connection, right?
Oh, it is your heart. Like you are such a beautiful person. If you were a nasty bride,
right,
there would be that disconnect,
right?
There.
Yes,
I wouldn't ultimately be attracted because this is gross,
right? Like, well, I'm sure you've met people that are physically attractive,
right?
But
nasty person,
exactly,
nasty person.
And I know I've met a lot of people like that.
I don't know. I guess if any brides are listening out there, but be encouraged when your husband really does look in the eye and say like, no, I find you beautiful. I'm attracted to you.
Yes. He's not lying.
He's not lying. He's not pulling a fast one. He's not trying to get you to go to bed. It's for real, ladies.
Right.
And I get it. Everyone has a confidence issue. That's fine. But if your man is saying that, ladies, that's the only opinion you have to worry about. That you don't need the love of any other man outside your household.
Right.
And
the standard isn't also the magazines, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yuck.
That's not, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's an unfortunate thing about the culture we live in, and especially for ladies, especially.
Which I'm sorry, lady, because that's not fair.
Yes, it's not fair. But you can't compare yourself to them when your husband is saying like, "No, I love you. I am attracted. You are the one for me." He means it. That's no BS. Like that's the real deal, and I think that's the confidence.
Yeah,
right. That you should have.
So that being said, I think there's a tie-in. If I can go back, ladies, I think there is a connection where it's like some girls don't feel attractive. And so they think, therefore, well, my husband probably doesn't find me attractive either because I'm grossed out by me. Therefore, like a sex drive dies. and then all of a sudden we have this big thing that's a very Christian marital only thing.
Right.
Disappears. That's not good.
Right.
That affects everything now.
Right. Sure.
Anyhow.
Because that's a big part of that connection piece, right?
It is
the physical intimacy. And
you're not my roommate. You're not my coworker. You are my bride. There is something very special and super awesome, by the way,
right,
that we get to do for the rest of our life.
Right.
Let's take advantage of that.
Right.
Don't dismiss it and say, there's a million excuses anyhow.
Sure. Yeah. And exactly. And what this is not about, ladies, is, or gentlemen, is not like, hey, this is the only way and you got to engage this. And that's not what we're saying. What we're talking about is, again, remember back to what Joseph was talking about when we were talking about how he misses his bride, how he just longs to just be with her, to hold her, to smell her, to enjoy her company, those things, because that is intimacy. That is the longing of the heart that he gets to express. I tend to think that there are times that we go through, and oftentimes it's calamity, when we have these moments of clarity or this recognition of the importance of things, right? We quickly reevaluate what we're doing in life, right? Like the Twin Towers go down, we're thinking about different things, right? I think back even recently, the Uvalde shooting at that school. Yeah. I immediately go back to, man, I adore my kids and I want to know that they're protected. You know, those things, right? Calamity happens and we reevaluate. Now, your wife's trip is not a calamity necessarily.
Sure, but
it's not. It's not. Like, what a joy it is that she gets
feels
to go
like
do that.
it.
I know, but right. And so then in your heart, like you long for her and Ada Grace. But those are good things,
right?
Especially when you can look at it and say, okay, I need to reevaluate some things here. Am I doing the best that I can do? And praise God for the opportunity to reflect on that. And so I guess if we could, I would love to shift to the guys in this regard.
Yes.
Right? We've talked time and time again on this podcast about how men lead, how we are the heads of the household. That's what the Bible has called us to do and to be. And as far as letting yourself go, right? Are you still dating your wife?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's something that you do, and I'm not, it doesn't annoy me, but I jokingly.
There's something I do that annoys you?
No, it doesn't. That's not the right word.
What meeting is this?
All right. But I do, gosh darn it. I have joked with Megan about this thing that you do. I'm sorry.
Where is this going?
I know. It's not bad. It's good. It's a good thing. But I have noticed it. You open the car door for your bride. You do that.
Oh, okay.
You do that. And again, I don't think it's,
that annoys you?
No, it doesn't annoy. It does. Like I said, that was the wrong thing to say.
But you see it and you're like, okay.
I better open my door for you, babe. You know, that's
this freaking guy.
Yeah.
Johnny husband over here.
Yeah. You can open your own dang door. That's what I tell Megan.
We're equal now, okay?
Yeah. It doesn't annoy me. But it's not something that I do.
Okay.
Now, that's a good thing. And the thing is that I assume 8 years, you have stuck with that because recently I think we went on like a double date.
Yeah, that was dope.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I know you still do it, and I feel like that's awesome. And so I guess to the men, like, are you still doing those things that you were doing when you were dating?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like one of the things that. No, that's a terrible example. I'm sorry. I was thinking of an example of like something I do. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Though, like, are you still, like you say, telling your wife that you love her?
Just say it,
right? Like, not. I mean, and we do that. Like, I flirt with my bride. I feel like I love my relationship with her, and it's certainly not perfect.
I would say one thing I kind of admire about what's annoying that you do. No, I admire. I do like. When we get together, like as couples, or even tonight, like I like knowing if I'm going to see Chris and Megan, they're going to play.
Yeah.
You guys play.
Yeah.
And I love like it's so like not to be cheesy, but like that's cute, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah, she had a great sense of humor. She had to marry me for sure.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy making like one of my most favorite times of the day is usually like when we finally get to bed. Because I like to razz and tease and, tickle. She says she doesn't like it, but she's laughing.
You're laughing,
You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I mean? Like, I just enjoy her company.
Yeah.
But that is something that it's just always been.
Yeah.
But now I have not always taken the time, on it. But I love talking to her. I love doing that. And that's something that our relationship started on that, right? Because we did the online thing, you guys did as well. And so really that's all you can do is just talk.
Yep.
And so that was sort of the foundation of our relationship. And we still do that. Like, I still love talking to her. I still love her input on things. And I want so badly to be a safe place for my bride so that she can flourish and grow. And we talked about this time and again too. Like, I want to be an encouragement to her, and I want to, she allows me to be a man, to be a husband, to lead my family. I so desperately do not want to ruin that or do something to offend that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess to the men, like, don't let yourself go either, right? Like, I want my wife to look at me and think I'm a stud.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm working hard, man. But
no, I agree. So I like the setup, man, because it is easy. Like I said, the podcast we were referencing, it's easy for the marital conversation to just start and end here. Mm-hmm. Ladies, put out for your husband, and he'll come back home again, right? Like, we've heard that a million times. Mm-hmm. But fellas, don't let yourself go either, right? You
shouldn't let yourself go in the first place, right? Like, you lead, we go first,
lead, protect, provide.
Yeah,
buddy, you're the first call.
Yes,
you're the first call.
Right.
So I was about to say it's as equally as important, but actually it's more important, guys, because you are the first call.
Right.
You're supposed to make the first move.
Right.
But the Bible said, love like Christ did.
Yeah.
That's on you guys. Ooh. So are you pursuing your wife still?
Yeah.
Tell her you love her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't just go to work, come home. I'm tired. I'm going to sit on the couch. I deserve rest, warm meal, and she better put out. Buddy.
Right.
You're letting yourself go.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Pursue your bride, man.
Right.
Pursue her.
Yeah.
The hard work's done. She married you. The hard work's done. She already likes you. Just keep pursuing her.
Right. So we're married. So now it's, all Sunday football and, I'm not doing nothing.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Think about that, guys. You're going to invest all of your other free time in all these other things. And then, but my wife better. She should read my mind. She should put out when I want. Dude, like, I hate you. I can't imagine how your wife feels when you're just ignoring her every day. You know what I mean? Like, think about that.
Yeah.
And I'm not making fun. I'm just saying,
right. And
fellas, look at your
marriage. Be
real.
But
be real.
Yeah.
Like, I one thing, because we kind of got into it either over the phone or at Hoover's, I forget now. You kind of asked me this question, and I more went on a rant of like, I'm so sick of marriage being one of those things that like we just tend to not talk about as the church goes. Anyhow, we just go, it's hard sometimes, and like we get uncomfortable because we don't want to talk about the sex aspect or husbands pursuing their wife. Like, we get uncomfortable. Like, no, dude, it's your marriage. Water it. Take care of it.
Yes.
Please tend to it.
Yes.
If there's something wrong, address it. Fix it. That's your marriage.
Right. Well, because I think we get this idea of like, oh, the grass is always greener on the other side, and it's like, yeah, they freaking water that grass.
Took care of it.
Someone's taking care of it. Like, what's wrong with you?
Dude, it drives me nuts. So like, so ladies, please don't think we're putting you on blast. We're putting men on blast, fellas. You are first call. Look, there is no nice way to say this, but if I know you go to work, and I know you're tired when you get home. Get off your butt though. Mm-hmm. Love your bride.
Yeah.
Play with your kiddos. Like, there's still work to be done at home.
Right. Absolutely.
And gosh darn it, dude, at one point in time, you thought that was fun, but now you just want to come home and sit on the couch and watch. Who knows what you're watching?
Yeah. And think about this. And I'm sure that for you, especially in this moment, like this is super easy for you to think about. Right.
Hey, oh, by the way, just fellas, just so you know, this speech is for me too. It's for Chris too.
Sure.
Like,
yeah,
we're not just some black belt husband that we're knocking out of the park every night.
No.
There's days I struggle with the very things I'm saying.
Sure, but you're also in this place, which I feel like is kind of nice for this conversation, in that you are going without your bride, without I mean, it's your family, dude.
And I hate it.
Right. And so I guess, all the more reason to sort of heed what you're saying.
Right.
Because you're in this situation where it's like, man, you miss them so much. So you can, in my mind, you can speak almost more clearly because of that longing, right? Like my wife's at home right now. She's, I'm not sure what she's doing, but you know what I'm saying? She's at home. I just saw her, a little bit ago. And, like I enjoy her, and I'm not saying I take her for granted, but I'm simply saying that like that longing isn't there. I know that when I leave here, I'm going to go home and I'm going to be able to see her beautiful smile and be able to, talk to her. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? So from your perspective though, it's like, look, this longing and all those things, when you first got together with your bride and were dating and all this and that, like she, in a sense, was the apple of your eye, right? Like you just cherished her so much. There's no reason that should fade, right? Now, it changes a little bit, right? Like our perspective changes, we grow and all those things.
Roll with it though.
Yes, absolutely.
But see, that's why I say I love her even more now, and I'm attracted to her more now because of, dude, when I was dating her, I had probably 2 perspectives on her. Sure. I have 1,000 now.
Right.
Stories about her, experiences together. Yes. We have deep life experiences that I have with no one else.
Right, yeah.
And never will.
Right, yes.
That's my bride.
Right.
That's my bride. My bride is not just her body.
So recall these things, guys. Recall those things. That moment that you first got to know her, all of those things. Remember when you were pursuing her. Man, awesome. Okay, I do want to go back to the door opening thing. Is this something that you started, that you've always done, that you're intentional, or you were just putting me on?
I was really hoping you wouldn't ask what's the origin of this. Yes. Because it's a really crap story. So my high school girlfriend.
But it goes back. Okay.
Yeah. My high school girlfriend, little country farm gal. We were going on a date, and I did not open the door, and she immediately called me out. She's like, "No, the guy should pay for the meal. The guy should drive. The guy should open the door." And I was like, "Oh, yeah. I guess suppose that makes sense. Yeah, I should." And then and which is weird that stuck, because usually I'm a very nope, you have to convince me. Like usually I'm that way. On that one, I just was like, yeah, that makes sense. And I want to be the man. Like that's fun being the man. It is.
Right.
And to me, that is a manly thing.
Okay.
So from then on, so sorry, Shay, it's not only you, but any woman that I was dating or with, I open the door. It's the smallest gesture. I am your man. I will get it.
So you have been consistent. Like that is something that you have always done.
Yeah.
For sure.
In fact, I kind of get not mad, but I don't like it if you don't let me open it. Oh, okay. Like if Shay's in a hurry and she comes, I'm like, hey, stop. I got it. Like don't do that.
Okay.
It's my thing.
So when because she will wait for you.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I got it for you. I got it for you. Dude, and also if I can relate it to the marriage, ladies, do let your husbands be a man and lead. Let them now the door. What, ladies? Maybe if you don't want that, that's fine. That's fine. And if you don't want to do that, but there are things you do need to let the man do.
Dude, I've got to figure this out, because I'll open, like if we're going in the house or in a restaurant or something like that. I'll get the door. I'll get the door for my wife.
Yeah.
But I'll get the door for anyone in that regard. But I guess I've just, the car thing, I've not. It just seems so inefficient. Maybe that's my stupid brain. Is it seems so inefficient for me to have to get out and go around and get the door for you when you could just get out and we can go because you're capable. And I'm not.
It is inefficient. You're not saving time.
Right. Sure. But I guess I am. I'm going to go home and ask her this. And she's listening to the podcast too. Yeah. So I just am. And for you guys, like, I guess maybe for you, I'd love for people to comment on this. I might put a survey up, dude, because this is interesting.
Some people, truly, this is not a like, oh, that's the code to marriage. No, it's not. It's the smallest, stupidest thing. Some women might want that. And some women are like, no, I got my door. Don't worry about it. But you know what? They might have another thing where they're like, husband, I do wish you did this for me, though.
Yeah.
That's ultimately
I get the flowers comment.
That you do get flowers?
I struggle to buy flowers because they're so expensive and they freaking wilt and it's a waste of money.
1,000% agree. Let me try to sell you on the idea of flowers because I was a very no flowers. I was a very no flowers guy. And then it dawned on me because I remember one day I was reflecting on it. And it's like, oh, you know who wants the flowers? Not you. Your woman does. So get them.
Okay.
It's the smallest gesture.
All right, man.
There's things that we want as husbands. That
you're taking me to task.
Yeah, right. There's things that we want. Truly.
Tell us more, Joseph.
There's things that we want that the wives are like, it's stupid, but okay, fine. I'll you know what I mean? Like just play ball.
Yeah, like
just
chili and cinnamon rolls. Damn it.
Marriage is fun, guys. Right? It really is. Like finding out what your spouse wants and then tackle that.
I got to do better, man. Doggone it. See, I was feeling pretty good going into this conversation. Now I'm feeling very much like, oh, I'm subpar.
I think let that be the takeaway, guys. All of us, we need to be looking like, I have a month. I have a month to sit back and look and like, man, where am I lacking? I'm lacking in a lot. Mm-hmm. Also, a month lets you go, holy cow, I do take a lot for granted. Mm-hmm. It's easy to get in the routine and think you're fine.
Sure.
But she's gone and it's like, oh, I just don't do this enough for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope she knows that I do. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I hope Shay is very, very forgiving and very patient. And she doesn't keep a record. She truly doesn't. So I want to say she's not like, he doesn't do this enough. I don't think she's doing that, but
sure.
I do realize I'm not doing enough. So.
Well, and I feel like that realization is out of your love and adoration for her, right?
Yes.
Like that's why you're recognizing it because you appreciate her so much. You want, like you said, I want her to know this. And so, man, that's awesome.
Okay. I don't have anything else to add to that. That's a good one. That's a marriage-heavy episode.
Absolutely, man. But what a joy. What a joy.
Yeah.
And I feel like I really appreciate your perspective because that is wisdom. Right? Like in the moment of this longing and that. That's why I wanted to ask you. Because I'm like, man, I wonder if he's the same. It sounds like you are. And that's some real golden nuggets. Yeah. I'm going to ask my wife if I need to start opening her car door, though.
So for listeners, do ask that because we are curious. Ladies, do you need the door open?
But is that something that would speak to you? Is that something that you would appreciate? Because I told you that because I've noticed you do it.
Yeah.
Not because like I've noticed, not on one occasion. I've noticed that you do that, and that's pretty cool. And I have mocked you a little bit with my wife.
No, but I do know where you're.
Bad way,
no, I do know where you're coming from. It's like, oh, I don't do that, but he does, and I noticed it.
Cool.
Yeah. It is a small thing. I really do feel like it's such a small, but I feel manly doing it. I truly do. I don't care how stupid that sounds. So ultimately, guys, I do want to know. See if you can find out. Is there something from your wife that she's like, I do wish you did this? Mm-hmm. And maybe it is open the door. Maybe it's put the toilet lid down. I don't know. It could,
sure.
Could be anything. Find out what it is.
Man, but you know what I like about what you had to say in a sense of the door too, though, is like, it's like a simple, silly thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really small thing. And I like that perspective, right? Because it is an intentional thing.
Yes.
But you're also like, it's really small.
I can't help but wonder if that's not where the marriage victories are. It's in the small things, right? Like,
sure.
Jordan Peterson, I think he knocked it out of the park when he said, it's like, don't worry about the big magical once in a lifetime moments.
Sure.
Like, oh, I took Shay and Ada to the beach and therefore now she knows I love her. Well, you had a big magical moment. That's dope.
Yeah.
But you need to master the things you do day in and day out.
Oh, absolutely.
Walking through the door. Hey, babe, missed you.
Yeah.
How was your day? We're sitting at supper. I'm going to look at you and talk to you. I'm not on the phone.
Yeah.
Master I really think the marriage victories are in those little tiny things.
Absolutely. I feel like that at 100% makes it. Like that's more of it. Yeah. I mean, think about it. The moments, if you have 5 a year, 6 a year,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, it's like, because if you're not even doing the everyday small things, which we don't, like, we take it for granted. And then you just expect this big vacation, the big experience to fix your marriage. Well, that's just not how we operate. And I tell you, guys, I don't know if you know the spoiler. That's not how the female heart works. It's not just the one big magical event. Yeah. That's not how they work.
Do you understand the female heart?
I should not have said that, as if I do know.
Us.
That's probably the one thing I know about the female heart, and that it's weaker. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness.
Weaker and smaller. I don't know. So just so you guys know, yeah, I'm a total slime ball. I'm so sorry. I don't have anything else to add, man. What else?
That's awesome, dude. No, I think that's a good one.
We need to. Why have we not done it? We need to have a married couple on that's got some miles on their marriage, and they could drop some pure bombs. That would be fun.
I would be embarrassed probably by all the things that I think are super important and all that. And they're like, so dumb.
You'll stop doing that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so to wrap it up, anything else?
No, dude. Okay. I mean, we could talk more scripture and all that, but dude, I like where we're at.
So for the listeners, what about you? Is there any time where, like with Chris's opener, that maybe someone offended you, they crossed the line, and it's like, you slipped on it, and ultimately you offered grace, but a good moral heart lesson? Do you have anything like that? I would love to hear you guys' stories on that one. How about for the fellas? Do you kind of get that way too when you notice the wife is gone? Do you get sad or do you get excited? I've had handfuls of guys, a few guys, when I see them in public. Hey, is the missus gone? Yeah, nice. Like, no, it's not nice. It's not. That's a whole nother thing.
Sure.
And then lastly, yes, ladies, make sure you're chasing your husbands as well. But fellas, it starts with you.
Absolutely.
You're the leader. Keep chasing your bride.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna love it. No bride is gonna be like, ugh, stop talking to me, stop playing with me.
Right,
that's not happening.
Yeah, you were on the hunt, in a sense before you got married.
Yep.
So
do it again, man. Yeah. There's a good one. Why'd you stop? Did you become a lazy dad, couch dad? Okay, I want to hear from you guys, brothers and sisters. That's it. We're gonna get out of here, put a little bow on it. I hope you enjoyed it. Take this stuff, get out there, have a true discussion. Until next time, God bless.
God bless.
Hey there, Joseph Dobbs here from True Discussion.
And Chris Douglas.
Look, we wanted to take a second and just say thanks for either watching or listening to our content.
But mostly watching because it's YouTube. And we wanted to just ask that you would take a moment and leave us a thumbs up, that you would subscribe and of course share.
Yeah,
because you like
it
people.
And share it and subscribe. We want you to do all those things. Now, sorry, but
yeah, now.
But yeah,
what are you waiting on?
But seriously.